What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good to see you all. Glad to have everyone here. Puts me in such a good mood to get online with all of you, and I'm grateful for all of you that. I'm going to fix this screen here before we get started this morning. Just give me 1 second, and I'm going to try and use this full screen mode so I could bring some other interesting stuff into the live stream later today. All right, let's take a look at that. Then let me do this. Let me zoom in a little bit. Let's find the perfect. That looks pretty good right there. We're going to go with that. All right, so I got my chart. I'm looking here at the Euro US dollar, and so happy. So, hey, Shane, by the way, Shane, thanks for all the support all time on the comments, being involved in everything. Do appreciate that very much. I'm looking at the Euro US dollar this morning because the ECB right now, actually, I think the press conference is still ongoing. And right now, that's the last big thing that the markets were kind of looking at over there. That's the last thing that the markets were looking at this week. There's not much else on the calendar, right? So far, the reaction has been just a little bit of volatility, but kind of muted. For a central bank meeting, ECB, it's a very muted response. We're going to look into what that means and how we think that we should be positioning right now. We're looking at the dollar, right? The dollar still hugging that 95.84 support. It has its eye on it. Is it going to break down? And if it breaks down over here, which it does look vulnerable still, then at that point, are we going to see the S&P also able to break the resistance over here at 32.32? The Chinese stock markets were off overnight. They had, what was it? I forgot the actual catalyst, but something, maybe it was lower than expected earnings. it just sent the market off. Now, the state itself had been selling over the last couple of weeks into that upward parabolic move. So you should have known that a 16% return in 2 weeks is not going to hold on the indices like that. But whether or not it goes back and tests the high or the top is in, I don't know. We're watching for the top here on the S&P 500 all the time, as we are on just all in the U.S. equity markets in general. But right now, I'm not seeing that yet. I think the base case here is that we break to the upside. An impulse over here now. That you have that second pullback in a week from the 32 resistance. You know, maybe the third time's the charm. And a lot of people don't think that we have anything left that we can break up over here, or that maybe I'm just way too bullish. People think that in Bitcoin, you know. Thanks, Vision. People think that in Bitcoin. I don't know. Obviously, those who've been with me for a while know that I have no qualms whatsoever about being as bearish and attacking to the downside as possible. It's just I don't see it right now. You know, we'll keep watching. So nothing else to say over here. If you're trading the S&P today, though, you do realize that you're going into the session with the overnight futures down. Okay, but everything else is kind of out of the way for the rest of this week, right? So we're just going to be looking at everything 100% purely technical, leaning in on the charts. I don't see any reason to short this market whatsoever. And, you know, a double touch to resistance, why instrument is trading at 5 months highs, to me is not a reason to short it. Even if you are to pull back, you know, could you say that, you know, this is a downtrend that you're shorting? It looks to me like you're picking the top right now over here, because simply there's no momentum to the downside. When the indices are coming off, It's clear. It's not happening yet. If it happens later this session, we'll adapt to it. But there's no levels here that are even close to being in jeopardy. Everything looks pretty and remains pretty bullish over here. Nice purchase on Bitcoin this morning over there, GP. Let's look at Bitcoin right now. And then we're going to really get into the FX pairs this morning. And we're going to spend a lot more time on the FX pairs. If you like that, please go ahead and smash the like button. Let me know what's going on, Brad. Bringing the tacos this morning. I'm looking for them. It's a tough week. It's choppy out there this morning. All right. So Bitcoin, nice purchase, by the way. If you pull up, let's just keep like grounded. Let's pull up the 12-hour chart. Let's pull up the Bitcoin True Trend BTC, which is found inside your indicators and strategies inside TradingView. Just search it right there. Right. I'm putting that on the chart. This one over here is the normal true trend we use for currency pairs. And you know, we were looking at this yesterday with like a ribbon indicator, and by a large margin, it seemed to me the true trend was a better instrument by far. You're in an upward impulse over here. There's no question about it. You want to be long. This upward impulse, this green, it's possible it lasts for the next 18 months. It's possible it never turns red, as that is the case in the last bull market. Just so you know. So if you're accumulating Bitcoin in this green zone over here, why price is below, it's below the 10,400 breakout. That's a good thing to me, as well as a negative impulse. It's all accumulate Bitcoin. It's on a time scale. It's on that 4-year cycle. So I know that I am 100% purely technically based, and that has helped a lot in positioning in and getting through all of this together, right? That has helped a lot. But right now, we're just on the, great purchase. If you're waiting for 85, I hope you get filled. I don't know that you will. What happens if we see a breakdown over here in the markets? Again, we're not seeing that breakdown. Everyone's looking for it, but we're not seeing it. The markets are not crashing. The Nasdaq's not crashing. Could that happen today, tomorrow, or next week? Sure. Of course. Was this little rejection over here we've seen so far with no follow through, mind you, the right one to be taken to the downside. Look, the last thing I want to say about this is that in yesterday's live stream, when we were looking at this, we were saying to ourselves that we're looking for a little bit of consolidation right here against this resistance. So great. When the breakout comes, I don't know. Is it guaranteed breakout? No. We have to break at this point right over here. This is an easy line in the sand for us now. Now that more time has passed, we're looking for a horizontal break of the 31.23 support and also coinciding with that trend line support, right? Over here, this would all of a sudden say, all right, we're seeing actually a breakdown of our trend line. That's a nice trade in there. And not only that, it would be bringing up a negative impulse on the true trend. Here's the true trend right there. Coming down into here, that would be sending the true trend negative at the same time we broke this level right over here. Is that something that you want to be looking if we break to go short here? Yeah, at that point you might want to protect yourself, right? But at this point, coming into that level over here, you're a buyer and you have to be buyer. Like your whole mindset has to be you're a buyer as we walked you through this and this because you're coming into in a strong uptrend support. So there you go. S&P 500. By the way, so is that is the scroll annoying or is the scroll okay? I have no idea. I haven't been able to look at any of the comments yet. The first time I have the scroll running, wondering whether or not that is liked or disliked. I have no idea. I heard someone else say they like it. That's it. I just haven't had the moment yet to go ahead and look. Annoying. All right, we got so annoying. We got annoying and so annoying. Well, that's interesting. I'm just taking a minute to read all of these. A bit distracting, annoying, bad, annoying, very annoying. We got one scroll is fine, good idea. The red is too red. There's no way to change it. I'm on a Mac. I'm so limited. Off-putting. We don't like off-putting. Bad is bad. Then we got like the scroll. Not a fan of the scroll. We're just going to get rid of the scroll. Ben, thumbs down. Okay, Ben. How about Ben hidden? Have fun, Ben. Yeah, it seems they're not a fan. I was a fan too, Vincent. I know Vincent was a fan. I'm a fan. No one else is a fan. It's not really important. No, there we go. How about that? Boom. There we are. Looks a bit cheap. Looks a bit. Thumbs up always. Thank you for that. That's cool. Thanks for supporting the channel like that. I do appreciate that. Before we get into, we got a clear look at what's going on. Markets open in 15 minutes. We wanted the first thing as we get in over here, we wanted to look at the euro US dollar with the ECB already having met this morning. Be aware that right now I'm finding so far the price action very, very choppy, right? Very choppy. And that's not usually the market I want to get involved in. We'll see if something else, develops. Should people be looking right now to buy the euro US dollar as it has pulled back? ECB is now over, or are you waiting for the press conference to end? Is the press conference still going on? I assume so. I just cannot even stand to listen to Christine for more than 30 seconds. It's not possible for me. So coming up here, do you take a higher high resuming out of this, or, I'm definitely not selling the euro, by the way. I'm definitely not selling the euro. Why? It's above this trend line. It's in the middle of a breakout right now. The next target becomes the upper trend line over here. This is the resistance we're looking to target. It is near 1.16, right? So I'm only a buyer right now. I'm still holding my long happily. And why above this trend line over here, you want to be looking only to the upside. What's happening right now with the dollar is we saw in the last 24 hours, the dollar firm up a little bit, right? We saw the dollar firm up. Finally, now it seems to be on the verge of resuming down into this support over here. It's an interesting area. You can see how everything is so connected, which is why we focus on the dollar, on the S&P. It's just all rolling in together with each other. There was something that I wanted to share before I get into the FX pairs. I'm going to share that with you right now if I could just find it, because now we have this whole new. I know you didn't like the scroll. Let me get rid of that. I know you didn't like the scroll, but now we have the whole screen, so I'm able to go head up and pull up other media. So let me go ahead and make sure the system audio is in. And here's Eden's response. He's saying, yeah, the 6 weeks have been very good, acknowledging that they have been what they are. I feel like I'm on top of the trades, meaning that I'm on the right side of the trade most of the time. When I'm not, I cut losses in time. The big difference by limiting my trades to 3 per week, in fact, once you know what you're looking for in the charts, once you wait for that perfect wave, you're able to get over that need to consistently trade. Actually, this week, we're already into Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. Most setups look unattractive to me, so I only traded once. I became very picky. Where have we heard that before? When we look at the course module on setups and we're talking about being very picky about the setups you choose, only one trade this week, and that's because there really have not been that many opportunities this week. If there's no need to trade, there's no need to trade. Looking forward, I need to keep doing what I'm doing because it's working 100%. Whether or not Eden's able to keep this pace up or not, he only needs to keep this pace up to meet his ultimate goal, right? 30% a year, 20, 30% a year, 25% a year, whatever you may call it in that range. Right? If you could get to 20, you could get to 30. You could definitely make that increase. Right now, he's working from going to 1% a month, working on going on his second month of a 1% gain. It's fantastic. He's there. He says he needs to work on his trade management. I have some experience, and that helps me a lot, but I'm sure there is plenty to learn there. Right? And that also does come with experience. Of course, this is pretty important. Regarding the live sessions, it starts at 4 p.m. local time, so it's really not possible with small kids around, but I watch everything. Thank you for underlining that, Ian. You upload at my own time, and that's perfect. That's why we do it. Of course, I just have 2 months, I think, memory of you being present every day when and definitely always mindful, right, of that. And so I just didn't know whether or not you were just quiet or not. But I'm just so glad to be able to share the videos, whether it's live or the replay. I feel like everyone is still all there together. You said you go over the markets yourself during London, right? And even enter trades there, right? And set some buy and sell stop orders in the system coming into the New York session. Gets real volatile, right? Gets real volatile an hour before New York opens as we get a lot of data that usually comes out of New York at that time, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. I must add that I benefit mostly from the parts where you go over different pairs. Now, like I said, Eden has been watching the live streams or replays for quite a while, and we used to really just focus on FX pairs. And he's saying lately I see you spend a lot of time on gold, silver, Bitcoin, right? Now, and even other crypto. And so just rewind to here first real quick, gold, silver, Bitcoin, because we could put them in one category and crypto in another. And yeah, I've been really at this moment in time, we're really making that transition, right? Where we're going to be experiencing a bull market here in precious metals and in Bitcoin, making sure and hoping that they see the bull case there, because that's how I am positioned myself. Now, other crypto, I'm not trading the altcoins, but I have spoken about since we started this channel back in October that when we came to alt season, we would need to spend a little more focus on there. That all being said, going back to it, spending more time on the different pairs and making sure no matter what, before getting into anything else, is just so hard. I see you all in the morning, and I just want to share my view of the markets with you, which definitely includes right now a large focus, right? Not only on the equity markets, but on the dollar, which is totally relevant to FX, but also on gold, also on Bitcoin. But we could try to to bring back, and I'll even watch a couple of those videos going back in January, February, and I'll watch them and I'll see what the flow was like and how we were looking at that pairs, and try to incorporate more of that towards the front end of our videos for sure. Because he's saying, you would appreciate it because going over the FX pairs is what really gives you the guidance in your own analysis that you're doing, right? It's that guidance there, that share, that really then makes it become clear. So great, great work. All right. So excellent work. I don't know how many people appreciate the achievement. He's on his way. Still got a long way to go, but it's nice to see it working out like that. There's something else I wanted to share with you. I think it might be right here, and that was, by the way, Shane, thanks again. I know you're here right now for always supporting. Someone at Mo over here is saying, thanks for your daily counsel. It's helped me break out of my 20 plus year habit of buying into breakouts and selling breakdowns, and now trading between the support and resistance until the retest occurs. That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. That's what this channel is all about. 20 plus years making the difference. And you don't need that. There was another Art was saying he can't remember if we have a Patreon account or something like that to support you. You've turned me into a constantly profitable trader. This was just left this morning. I saw that. I appreciate the knowledge, and that's awesome. No, I don't have any. Thanks for asking, Art. Thanks for asking, but I don't have a Patreon page or anything like that. Hanson Life was, you could just pay for the course that he did. Thanks, Hanson, Always Life, for being present here. And that is great to hear that you're constantly profitable, right? And that you want to say thanks. Hanson Life is right on it. You could join the course, learn more, plus share in the community. And it's just the best way to support me in the channel. If that's what you want to do, you don't need to do that. Thanks for just being here, present, and, and participating in the community. There's always a lot for us to learn. And thanks for those who are gone and head over here and choose to support the channel through this way. That's awesome. And you guys are all awesome. Let's get into the FX. No tip jar, If you want to take the course, take the course. If you just want to be here and say hi, if you want to smash that like button, thanks for being here. S&P, we're going to be watching this closely. It's Thursday. I feel like now coming into the weekend, if the Bears are going to make a move and have some follow through, this is their opportunity. So we're going to be watching that. Am I looking to trade it? Did I go short over here after the rejection of this line? And an entry lined up. I'm not short, right? And I don't have any business, or I don't want to be short at this moment. Too much momentum and pressure here to the upside. Just going to wait and see what happens. If things start all of a sudden breaking down and all of us will be like, oh my goodness, the markets are selling off, we break some important technical levels, we'll look to be getting short on a break of this horizontal support over at 3120, coinciding with that trend line support, the trend line that has been our guide throughout the last couple of months of knowing when we were bullish buy side. We tried to get the down impulse over there. It was a false break. It was rejected to the upside. Let's take a look at what's going on here in FX. By the way, I'm just going to mention, Eden, gold is in an uptrend over here, hugging the 1800, continues to look so good, as does silver, right? Kips was saying palladium's his only precious metal, showing gains right now. Bitcoin getting punched up a little bit, lagging everything today, down 1%. But do keep in mind, when Bitcoin used to lag, it used to be down 3 and 5% in a day. So not too bad here. Getting ready. Those are going to reverse to the upside over there. Euro US dollar was the thing that I'm watching right now because of the ECB, and I continue to hold my long on this breakout of this trend line resistance. Take a look at it. Take a look. Do I go too fast when I do my analysis? Do you find that I go and explain things too fast? Because maybe I take for granted a lot of what I do and what I know. Just out of curiosity, what type of cadence is better for all of us? Euro US dollar, we're looking over here at the breakout of that trend line. This is the 3-day, just to show you that this is a clean, nice breakout. This is now experiencing the first pullback. It so far looks like a possible red bar is developing, but you could see also developing the lower high. This bar is in the middle of printing. You know, it's got a while to go. Looking down at the 8-hour where we make our living. Oh yeah, we wanted to talk about that, Chris. I'm going to talk about that in 1 second. Yeah, GP, am I expecting a retest or did we see the pullback? That's the question that we're looking at. Then we'll talk about the crypto hack last night. I don't know, it was the crypto hack last night. It's utterly amazing to me that those high profile accounts were able to be hacked all at the same time. I guess what it was working methodically within intervals. Supposedly all those people had what they had in common was that they were using some type of auto scheduling service. Maybe that's the exploit and how it happened. Interesting to note accounts that didn't get hacked versus the accounts that got hacked. Who has better operational security? Elon Musk got hacked, right? The Gemini, the Winklevoss twins got hacked. What's his name? The Bitcoin, the Greek guy, the guy from Greece, Andreas Antonopoulos got hacked. Interesting. So I don't, as far as that Bitcoin, the Bitcoin price didn't move off of that news whatsoever. That doesn't really involve Bitcoin, right? The person made $100,000 or something like that within the first couple of hours. But if you had the capacity to actually take over all of those high profile accounts, including Bill Gates, et cetera, I think that you could have exploited the situation for more than $100,000. Something's weird. I don't know what's going on. Looking forward to find out what's going on over there. Yeah, OPSEC, who was using good operational security and who wasn't. Trump was using fantastic I think Obama was hacked, right? Obama was hacked too. That's true, Sam. So yeah, Murray, like we were talking about that also, and I feel bad for all the anyone who lost money on that. But if Bill Gates tells you that he's gonna, you sent him money and he's gonna send you back double, are you really gonna believe Bill Gates is gonna do that? So Euro US dollar, are we waiting is this the test, this pullback as we resume off? Yes. Or do we get a further pullback into the resistance? We'll see. It could go either way. There's no way of knowing. There's no way of knowing whatsoever. All I can say on any impulses to the upside, I want to be involved. I'm already involved and I'm holding let's see. So far after that nice breakout, and you could see the break. Let's look at the 12-hour even. You can see the nice clean breakout over here. Here's the pullback. It looks like it's on the verge of continuing to resume up over here. Interesting, the 12-hour during summer trading, huh? Markets have been pretty nice, though. Let's look around there. Let's look what's available. Let's see if we can get into any good trades. Notice one common theme that we saw today, and before we get into our analysis, I do want to talk about that really quick, and that was that there have been few trades again this week. That happened again the first week of July. It's happening again now. What does that all mean? You're in the summer. Just be mindful that you don't need. There's a difference between being indecisive and frozen and not being able to take trades and being able to distinguish that there's no trade that you want to take. Be mindful of that. There's an alternative. Yeah, I would like to know what that was and what that was all about. It does not seem. Something seems off. Something seems off. Is the dollar getting weak? Is the S&P? I mean, the S&P is off right now, right? The S&P's off. Dollars is just, listen, market's not really moving yet. What's the next move? So far here on the DXY, looking at the dollar, like that's a pretty impressive little trend that's got going on over there. It looks like it's now possibly being rejected. And then if that's the case, we can make a leg down, right? We're going to watch what happens as we come into 94.67 if we do break the 95, because if I go back to the left, and I'll show you later, there's other touches in this area. So I expect that's where price would kind of putter out before then bouncing up again. If you break here to the upside, then odds are we're coming in to test the resistance at 97. You want to look to sell that resistance at 97, right? We'll see. Right now, everything looks kind of like, Juan, I didn't. Trading Forex on the Grand Exchange. All right, let's take a look. I'm going to start with the US dollar, Mexican peso. I'm going to start with the peso, which is unchanged on the session. The reason I'm starting with the peso is this is a helpful barometer for me on what's happening with the US equity markets, right? What's happening with the US equity markets. And I see that markets, the S&P is down 0.7%, but US dollar, Mexican pesos, not really buying it. It's unchanged. It's actually slightly down, which means that would be more risk orientated towards the markets. All right. So are the markets going to follow through and trade up this session? We're going to watch for that. That's a possibility. That's a possibility. Okay. What else? US dollar, Japanese yen. You can see the dollar gaining versus the yen today. All right, so I'm going to take a look at whether or not I'm seeing yen weakness versus other pairs as well, because the yen was a little bit stronger yesterday than it's been. It had a good day yesterday, right? I do see that the euro is up on the yen, but I see that the Australian dollar, Japanese yen is slightly down and unchanged. I also see that the yen is stronger than the New Zealand dollar. Just trying to get that feel for the flow, because right now things are a little bit choppy out there. So I'm really just trying to get my bearings, get it straight. Right? Get it straight. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. So even though, by the way, just to reinforce things here, if things start turning over and rolling over, we want to be looking to trade against the Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar, right? So watching out for that, watching for possible signs. But this looks pretty heavily correlated to the US equity markets. This is the June high. But except here, FX is trading higher. You can see we're trading above the June highs right now and consolidating right over there. So I'm looking for a break up, and I continue to look for a break up as I'm looking for actually a breakdown on the dollar. Nothing yet has me saying that I'm looking to take the other side and looking for the sell side, because this in a downtrend. This you could say is in a downtrend. We looked at the S&P this morning. Can you say that's in a downtrend? That's a tough case to make. Is this in a downtrend? Yeah, this is in a downtrend. This is areas of resistance. So long term, that this might be the place to position in, but I'm not trading long term. I'm looking at swing trades and not yet. Patience, 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 patience. The key to Bitcoin is patience, because we all know we're trading a long cycle, right? We're trading that long cycle. Let me try to pull that up for you really quick. Right here it is. Patience with Bitcoin, patience with Bitcoin. Let's go. We could pull up this graph right here is the one we want. This is showing us right now we're in the second red dot. Look what happens as we enter the red dots. Look what happens. We are getting close. Everything is going simply according to schedule, right? If not better, because we didn't expect the Fed to be stepping in here, expanding their balance sheet by $4 trillion, nor the additional stimulus coming. This is what Bitcoin is made for. Same thing with Bitcoin. Yeah, take the long road. On board. So one of the most important things I believe to words that I'll pass on to my children when it comes to investing is that the longer your time preference is, the greater the chance of you being successful in that investment. Which is why as swing traders, we focus in on the 8 hour instead of the 1 hour. I know a lot of FX traders trade on are attracted to the 1 hour time frame. right? That's why we're trading on the 8-hour. The higher your time preference, the longer you're in that investment, the greater your chance of you making money. All right. What else are we looking at today? I started off with the New Zealand dollar. Why did I start off with the New Zealand dollar? Because we're looking at what happens if we start breaking down. We're interested. What's the best play if we start breaking down? Is it long US dollar, Mexican peso? That which that might be. But there's so many opportunities. I'm looking at the New Zealand dollar pairs. Let's focus back in on the euro for a second here, just to see what it's doing, and it's just maintaining, right? It's not doing anything. I assume the press conference has now started. I'm more focused now as the U.S. markets open over here, as we're seeing, so far an extension to the downside. Oh, I don't want that. Let me try it. I need to clean that up. Let's take a look here at what's going on this morning. All right. What are some important levels we want to watch here to see that if we take out to the downside, then we might be testing lower? I'm looking some pretty nice support over here. Some pretty nice support at 3180, right? So that's something to look for. I'm going to move up this light bar up towards 3180. 3183 is a number that I remember from the past when we were looking back at that. So I'm going to put it there. And why that's happening, while you have your little bit of support over here, you're looking now as you've tested that resistance and are pulling back. In my opinion, any upwards impulses is the time here to look to attack to the long side. When you come into the session negative, that's in a bull market. You come into many 83. Are you then looking to get short? Possibly. Are you looking possibly for a further move down to 31.23 and towards that support? And will we have some momentum coming into the weekend that you might want to be involved with? I mean, I don't know. It's taken a while to get going over here. We're not really seeing any impulse to the downside. I continue not to be interested. I'm only looking here as we get into that support as to be a buyer. And we spoke about if we lose that support, then how we'd be looking for the sell side. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, how many people did we had in here? We had 650 people, 700 people, 300 likes. Everyone, thanks for showing your support here. Thanks for smashing that like button, especially on our afternoon videos. I just want to thank everyone who's here for our live streams, who the first thing to do is smash that like button. I'm really grateful. Thanks. Thank you for that. Euro US dollar, let's check it out. Coming in right now to this resistance at 122.52. Everyone could see it up here. That was the high that we were testing out earlier. Looks very cool. Heath had a much better looking chart than I do here with a nice trend line drawn in. I'm just focused on the support and the resistance over here. And yeah, this looks like this might have the opportunity now to break out. Is the euro lagging though? Is it just the Japanese? No, the euro's hanging in there, right? This looks like it is getting ready here to continue that pulse to the upside. If you're not long, take a look at it. If you're not long, take a look at it. Thanks, Jesse. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're going to look at everything. I want to focus in. I'm trying to find the flow. And that's why, especially during the market open over here, really important time to be dialed in. That's why when I say market open, New York, U.S. equities, they have a big effect on the markets. So here we go. Australian dollar, Japanese yen is now resuming off of the support here at 74.65. It looks like during this session, it has the potential to resume off of that, heading back upwards. Euro, Japanese yen leading the way there, huh? Notice that the euro is stronger than the Australian dollar. So we will, in a second, flip back over to the euro Australian dollar to take a look at what's going on. First, let's finish here. What type of targets? Well, I mean, I don't think anything's changed. I'm not even personally looking towards the 75.50 area here as a place of resistance, as a target. I'm looking what happens towards the 76 area. So we'll see. We'll see if that continues to get going or not over there. We're watching this morning. I'm not I'm not like a reversal trader. We're watching for a reversal intraday here in the markets because that would send a signal over there that we are now possibly breaking the 32 resistance. Nasdaq lagging behind. It's so interesting. Did you see in yesterday's video we were talking about the makeup of the S&P? I believe it's true that 5 companies make up 40% of the weighting of Nasdaq. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that was the stat. That is just unbelievable. So why do I bring that up? Just to mention it. Just to mention it. Let's look at it. We wanted to look at the euro Australian dollar. At least I did over here. That is also resuming up nicely. Or for that support. This is what yesterday in the live stream, we looked at this pair closely. We talked about after breaking out here, retesting and breaking out of that trend line, it pulled into the resistance, but it's pulled back into that first area of support. That's where the buy was. That's as clear as can be. Nevertheless, it doesn't mean just because it's clear that you want to take it. We were talking about earlier the importance of to be really picky in your trades. Speaking of which, this is a beautiful setup. That's a beautiful setup right there on the euro Canadian dollar if anyone got into it. Let's talk about this for a second. This is probably the most important thing as we continue to get going because as we continue to get going, the markets feel like they're up to something today. I feel like that set is coming in. Swiss franc continues to be the weakest. GP. That's 2 days in a row. Euro strength continuing. But looking here at the euro Canadian dollar, just for one more second, you could see that's a perfect pullback into the support and now resumption off. A lot of traders now are finding that they're able to get into that trade with no problem, which means that they're looking at trades that are slightly into profit and they don't like when all of a sudden that trade goes against them, right? But that's the thing is that's going to happen. This is a fantastic setup to take. Whether it works out or not on any individual trade is irrelevant. If you take enough of those, you're going to be profitable as long as you're not taking profit here. Because if you're taking profit there, you'll never be a profitable trader. You're looking at the first level, the next level up here of resistance. You'd then be looking to move your stop loss to break even. Maybe take a little off the table, right? Maybe take 15, 20% of that trade profit. You now have a stop loss at break even. Now other traders are like, wow, I have a stop. Now I'm showing actually some profit, right? Probably this is about a 1-to-1 risk reward from where your initial stop was, right? So if you're taking a 1-to-1 take profit, you're never going to be profitable also. All right. So what do you do next, right? Next thing you need to do is realize that a portion of these trades are going to reverse and get you stopped out at break even. You don't like that. You don't like that because you saw some profit and now you gave it back. So you don't like that. Well, the alternative is, and I was looking at this yesterday with Brad. The alternative is that as you came into the resistance, maybe you took a little bit of profit or maybe you didn't take profit at all, but you did not move your stop to break even because you wanted to give your trade room still. As it's over here, price is up here now. You still wanted to give that trade room, and then you find out that trade not only would have stopped out at break even, but now you're taking the full loss at that. We looked at a series of 5 trades. On 3 trades, that exact behavior was done. That's a difference between having 3 break-even trades and being frustrated that you never took that small profit or being down a full 1.5%. The thing about this is now you have to recover from that. If you just stayed even until you got follow through, you're ahead of the game. So that is the lesson of the day. Boom, boom, boom. Man. All right. Can we look at what's that? We wanted to look at the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Of course we can. Let's check it out right now. So, again, when you're looking at the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, what I'm looking at is it's trading right now at or above its June highs. So again, Nasdaq is trading above June highs by a large margin, or is it still? Let me confirm that before we move forward. Yeah, Here's the June high. It's trading by a large margin above its June highs. We know that the S&P is trading at them, and we know that the Dow is trading below them. And here you have the New Zealand dollar, US dollar trading pretty much at them. Pretty bullish. If you look at the Australian dollar, US dollar, you'll notice the same thing. It's trading at them, also at the highs. So it's tracking the equity markets very, very, very closely, right? If you're looking for a breakdown in the equity markets, probably we will see the largest carnage come from the Australian dollar, the Canadian dollar, the New Zealand dollar. Okay. If that's happening and you're looking here at the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, right? And you can see, well, that looks, I mean, it does slightly look a little bit more bullish than the Australian dollar because we are consolidating at the highs. It's very close. The Australian dollar is slightly below it, right? So you would have to figure out which of those two pairs, I would be figuring out which of those two pairs that I would want to be playing to the downside. Do I want to take this rejection here of this resistance right here, right now? Because we're trading in a downtrend at resistance. So that's a possible trade, that entry that I could take right now if I wanted to. But I'm more focused on what's happening in front of me. And when in front of me, I'm looking, March lows, Fed action, and then I'm, looking at, possibly breaking out to further highs over here. If we saw a pullback into the support down at 0.64, be looking to be a buyer. What would make me become bearish on this, where I'd want to be a seller? It would be seeing that the move to risk off taking place, of the dollar firming up. Probably the DXY over here is trading right around or above 98.30, right? Dollar coming off right now, and 98.30 is all the way up here, right? So even to keep it simple, 97.73 is our double resistance, that a double touch into that resistance last week, which we have since come off. Getting above there at this point, we could say, all right, the dollar is now has some strength behind it. Until that's happening, though, I can't see trading against or trading with the dollar. I can't make the bull case for the dollar right now. I'm very bearish on the dollar, and that's where we are. Boom, 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 boom. Wow, we almost have 400 likes today. Thank you. So Tim is looking at a near-term trend line. So until the DXY breaks right now above this area over here last week, the high 97.73. Why we're trading below that, we are very excuse my laughing. I can't believe the amount. I'm loving this session, by the way. I think it's a fantastic session, as was Mondays, as was Tuesdays, was even better. Wednesdays was even better, and today's even better. So I'm laughing right now at the thumbs down, and I'm laughing at it. So I'm sorry. I'm not getting trolled by it. I'm laughing at it. What are we looking at here on the DXY? I mean, right now I'm looking and continue to look for a breakdown of this area over here. I would be looking to sell this resistance here at 97 and also 97.73. Any move back into it, not until we got above this area would I be saying, all right, things are changing. We're looking bullish over here. Euro US dollar is extending out of there, I assume. Let's check out the euro. Yeah, it's really starting to extend out now, testing yesterday's highs. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And also here on the euro Japanese yen, the euro Japanese yen is now testing that resistance. That all looks fantastic. Are the equity markets going to follow suit? We talked about this morning that the US dollar Mexican peso is not following the trajectory of the equity markets. That this is actually showing we're seeing a bit of risk on. You're seeing that little bit of dollar weakness. Let's see what happens. I'm interested the next couple of hours of trading to see what the US markets do. Not interested at all in the downside. Were you clapping or beating my chest? It was just a simple hand clap. Just a simple hand clap. That would be fantastic if I was up there beating my chest, but I don't, to be honest, I'm very, very, very detached in my trading. That goes for my gains and losses. There's no way. If you're emotional about your gains, you're trading way too big. It means you're going to be emotional about your losses. What else are we looking at over here? Thank you, David. And you know what? I mean, it's clear as can be. It's so sincere how much I really, really appreciate I mean, I get so happy in the morning as we're about to go live, but you know, I'm doing the analysis because that's the only way you could do it. You have to put in the time to be an elite in anything. You need to put in the time, whether that is a runner, right? A football player, whatever the case may be. To be an elite, to achieve, to perform at an elite level in anything, you have to put in that time. So I'm happy to put in this time, and I'm glad you were all here with me because it makes it a lot more fun. All right, looking at taking profits on individual stocks right now, that's a tough one. So, do you have any favorite movies, by the way, that relate to Wall Street? I do. I was watching The Big Short the other day, and it's actually a pretty fun watch considering I know little. I've watched The Big Short several times and would watch it again. I love The Big Short is fantastic, right? What's one of my favorite movies outside of The Big Short? It's a documentary on iTunes or probably found elsewhere called it had to do with the 2008 financial crisis. I don't know what it is. I'll figure it out for you. It's in my iTunes. It's fantastic. I can't look at my iTunes right now. If anyone knows what it is, documentary on 2000. Anyway, that's the other one, Miguel. Margin Call is there's some good scenes on there. In YouTube, you could find like some good 2 and 3 minute scenes on Margin Call. Some awesome. The Untold Truth. Is that what it is, Thomas? I'm not sure. No, it's not the House of Cards, though. Princess of Yen is a good one, Rustin. That's for sure. Inside Job. That's the one. It's Inside Job. That's the one right there. Highly, 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 highly recommend. Inside Job before watching The Big Short, because you'll understand The Big Short a lot more if you first watch The Inside Job. Rounders is a great one. That's a poker movie. That's a great one. It's one of my favorites. Rounders also. Also add Rounders. That's a good one. Yep, Chain, Inside Job. Thank you for that. All right. Here we go. Let's take a look. I want to see what the dollar is coming off a little bit now on the session. At the lows, right? At the lows of the last 24 hours. Nice, 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 nice. And nice to get follow through. Nice to pull through that area of uncertainty. Let's see if the equity markets follow. Again, I hope I'm clear. Some people are funny, but yeah, I'm ultra bullish on the equity markets here. I'm ultra bullish on gold, ultra bullish on Bitcoin, and I hope enough that it gets enough people looking at the markets with that type of lens, because sure enough, everyone keeps calling the top and trying to sell the top of the markets, but that's not happening. And it's not happening for a long time. There's nothing wrong with playing both sides of the market when it calls for it. I don't see any indication that we should be looking to trade the downside of the market. Now, everyone knows that I am able to change my position in a heartbeat if it warrants it, but it's not what's happening. Boom, 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 boom. I never heard of that, Jazz. I never heard of that. Thank you for that. Nick Van Der Well, appreciate that. The Mississippi Grind, I never heard of that one. I'll have to check that one out. Values in play, US dollar bouncing over here. The margin call big, and the Big Short again. I have to give up the Big Short. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, well, let's talk about that. Let's get into this comment right here. And again, you know what I love? All the videos are on YouTube. Every single live session we've ever done is on YouTube, as well as there's, in April and May, there's some missing. Those are on LBRY. I'll make that a link available. I found all of our videos. They're all online. So you're saying that it took me a while, it took me a few weeks to get bullish. Of course. Let's rewind to the beginning of the year again. This is all starting at the beginning of November 5th. All of this is online. From here to here, do not ever trade. Do not short equities. Do not short equities. Do not short equities. Do not short equities. When equities are coming off, we will all know it and we can be involved. That's not happening now. Does that sound familiar? Because that's where we are today, actually. I just noticed that. Then, as we become coming off, this is when I first started trading the S&P again for, what was it? The last time I traded the ES must have been in 2003, because they're not attractive markets to me. And then this is attractive though when we're seeing this type of price action. I was all over this, and I was all over this, and the most money I made this year was on the S&P, and then over here I started buying. And it took me a little bit to catch the bottom. It actually, I don't know if it took me 3, 4, or 5 or whatever trades it took to catch the bottom. But then I got into nice positions in the bottom. And yeah, I took some profit when we came up to 26 around that area, right? And then I took the rest of the profit not too far later. I took the rest of my profit off. And my longs, after my crushing shorts, my longs were taken off. And then from this area to here for quite a while, from, let's call it, all of April into, let's call it May 15th, when we broke down over here, and then it was a false break. All of that area, I was looking to short the market and did multiple times, but I was actually doing the right thing. I was actually looking for the right trade, and I would do it all again, because there's no question coming in to this area of support, I'm looking for this thing to roll over and test the March lows. And not only that, I tried to position myself multiple times, and I actually closed that whole area, that whole 6-week area. I actually closed at not even through there. And then in through all here also. This is more of a 2-month area. This is a 2-month area where I ended that 2-month area after trying actually multiple shorts, including this one here. I ended the area slightly down. It took this trade over here. It took this trade, and I got out of that trade so early because of it. It took this trade here to get me back to profitable from the mistakes that I made over here, between the couple of small losses I took and the multiple break-evens I took. It took me that trade, and I got out of this trade way early. I would have held it have I not been trading from a position of weakness. I would have got out of that and had a nicer trade. And then nevertheless, then from then on in, I was involved in that. That, not the downside, only the upside. And that's where I've been neutral since, but calling for a 3,200 price target. Here we are now. If you think there's a problem with that, I wish I could highlight that comment again. If you think that it took me, you said only a couple of weeks, it took me a couple of months to get on the right side of the market. Took me a couple of months. Now, mind you, that was a 6-month period where we did all of this. This is a 6-month period where we do this. And for 2 months of those markets, it took me 2 months over here to try to find the right side of the market. Yeah, it did. After being all over the market, and then, found my way and got back on the market, and I'm on the right side of the market. But exactly. That's how you trade. Masterclass right there. And by the way, if you look at that as a lens and find fault with that, you're never going to be a successful trader. You just don't get what trading's all about. Almost made 500 likes today, but I have to say 447 is off the hook for having 600 people in here. We had 708 people here earlier today, last I saw. Pretty awesome. What did the true trend saying during that period? Awesome question. Let's pull up the true trend. Is it already on the chart? No. I'm going to go into indicators. You could just search it if you can't find it, but it's already here for me. So I'm adding the true trend. And yeah, so the true trend, by the way, like even today, if we go negative on the true trend, which will mean we are breaking this area we're looking at technically, right? You have the I tried to go short over here. That was on a negative impulse of the true trend. I did not look for the short here because we never had the technical confirmation. Same thing over here. The true trend was red, but we never went short over here. We were buyers, right? Because we're watching ultimately what's happening on the chart and on price, and the true trend is that guide. But if we start going short here because of our technical break of the trend line, right? The true trend will be following. If you go back to over here, right, and you saw the true trend go negative, right? What was happening technically? Well, technically and more important was the break, right, of that 32-31 support. So you would have, for both reasons, been looking to go short or get on the sidelines. But the true trend would have, if you stayed short, if you stayed out of the market, why it was negative or were short the market, it got you into the market over here, not looking at the true trend. This is, I mean, no, it's not. Hold on. This is the area where it started looking for the long side, was not relying on the true trend whatsoever for those decisions. That was going on, right, in the market. And that's actually when the Fed acted. And so there it is. That was fun. That was a fun tangent, actually. Yeah, until it's not. Until it's not, right? If the S&P breaks down this week, I guarantee that all of us are bears and getting involved. Do we pick the top? Nope, not one of us will have picked the top, the rejection of that resistance, or at least not myself. But that's not the type of trader I am. I'm not looking to pick tops and or bottoms. I'm looking just for the sweet spot of the trade, the higher probability portion of the trade, because picking tops and bottoms is a low probability trade, right? I don't need to pick the bottom or the top. Euro maintaining that extension out, on the verge of possibly breaking out to new highs. It's going to be an interesting session that could go either way. The next hour of trading is up for grabs. It's up for grabs, and it's a big one. I think that then gives the direction of the rest of the day going into tomorrow. Do I have a long-term bias on the market? Yep. My long-term bias on the market, has been, and I've, again, it's all on every single live stream we've ever done. But as long as we're above this trend line over here, my bias is uber bullish on the equity markets, right? Even when I was taking some short trades over here at the top of the resistance, right? I was getting short over here at the rejection of this trend line resistance over here. Oh, move that back. And even while doing that over here, I was shorting because even while doing that, I had a long-term bullish bias, which continues. How strong is the resistance here on the Euro US dollar? When I look at the Euro US dollar, I'm more thinking of it like this. I'm more thinking of it on like this. And wouldn't it be great if sometime by early September, she was breaking out here, testing that resistance up there. That would be nice. Could it happen sooner? You could see this break, by the way, it took 3, 6, 9, 12 days. It took 2 weeks. And if you go back over here, this took quite a while, actually. This had a breakout. You could see the whole retest of the resistance before another resumption out, taking it in then quickly. So I would say the earliest, well, here is who knows? There was a quick burst. All I can say, I can't imagine anyone being short. However, once we get into the upper resistance, for sure, I'm going to be leaning into the short side up here. And if that doesn't hold, as I lean in, because I'm long now, but as we get into that resistance and I go short or try to take a rejection short, I know where I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'm getting long because that's a huge breakout over there to the upside, right? So markets are beautiful. Lots going on today. Nice movement. Bitcoin lagging again. Bitcoin lagging. Just making note of it. Just making note of it. Markets are heavily off today. Heavily off today. Markets off 1% today, right? Dow leading the way again, holding on to the most gains. This all looks like consolidation, and it all looks super healthy because the market breaking it out over here and shooting straight up like the Nasdaq recently did. I mean, that's not a healthy market. That's a bull market, but that's not necessarily you don't hold on to straight up gains. This consolidation now is all super healthy. Everything looks good. I'm quite bullish and continue to be quite bullish on the equity markets. Now, at that same time, I'm neutral here, not in a position, not looking to get into position until we break out above here and or depending on what time of the day we get a resumption up out of here even after that first pullback. That's a nice place to take a low risk to reward trade for sure. We got Netflix reporting today. But Netflix earnings should be up, right? Netflix earnings should be up. They've actually been putting out some better content. Netflix sucks, excuse my language, but they've been putting out some better content, and people just watch Netflix. That's an interesting thesis. Should we to short the market right now because stimulus is not going to happen, or it will be very weak? Yeah. That's an interesting stimulus right now is pretty strong. We're still seeing, right, on average, $4 billion a day of direct purchases from the Federal Reserve in the market. We got more coming. And by the way, that brings up an interesting segue into this over here. This is written by Keith at Hedgeye. All right. And he's talking about many perma bulls, right? Could you classify me as a perma bull? No, because I have been this year, right? I've played the dilly out of the short side. I have no problem doing that. That the flow argument of liquidity and don't fight the Fed, right? You hear those all the time. Don't fight the Fed, liquidity. But not everyone wants to accept that the number one threat to both the Fed and these liquidity models is the volatility. So I'm not exactly sure what he's trying to say over here, but we have been since January. We picked up in January and December, January and February, the rising volatility and ranges in FX. Look what happened in March, right? I'm not seeing rising volatility right now, personally. I'm not seeing rising volatility. I'm seeing a little bit of smoother price actions in FX. Why I'm sure they have no responsibility in the crowding the consensus into a narrow pipe of stocks. We talked about only 5 stocks make up 40% of the Nasdaq with bubble market caps. 5 stocks, here is where I got it. 5 stocks equals 40% of Nasdaqs, and 2 stocks equals 40% of techs, but still happened. And now that's one of the most consensus net long positions in all of global macro. Long equities over here, seeing non-commercial futures and options positioning data of today's chart. What could possibly go wrong? So we're seeing that retail is heavily positioned here to the long side, right? And are we saying that this is a possible risk in the markets? Listen, from the school I'm from, which is 20 years of experience of watching price actions and charts, when you get into little areas or pockets that we are in right now, overbought and oversold can remain so for a long time. So it's a trader's market, meaning that you have to follow what's happening technically on the charts and simply trade off of it, right? The fundamentals don't matter until they matter, right? And when they matter, the charts are already showing you what has happened. So it's a trader's market. You got to stay with the charts. We have our technical levels. Whether you feel like everyone's too overpositioned and bullish right now, or that the Robinhood traders are eventually going to be proven wrong, the fact of the matter is so far they've only been proven right, and that smart money is not looking so smart. This is the week, and you guys all know my love for Raoul Pal. I am always sharing his thoughts, right? Big fan. subscriber to Real Vision. But at the same time, he's calling for the crash this week. We looked at that last week. I don't know. We got some technical levels to break before we start considering our position to the short side or getting involved in it. And until then, we're looking to buy any pullbacks into support. Even perhaps this might be the pullback you're looking to buy. That's a nice quote, Tim. That's interesting. If anyone's another great movie we were talking about, really good, but another equally important movie is Oliver Stone's Snowden. Highly recommend it to everyone. Everyone will find it absolutely fascinating. Delete Facebook. Yeah, I mean, so by the way, Thomas, M&T is here. We're looking at Vice President Biden, if elected, wants to do a $2 trillion spending package in order to help renewable energy be more adopted. That could be very good, right? But $2 trillion is a lot of money. We also need infrastructure. There's no infrastructure in the United States. President Trump is talking about, if elected, doing I believe, equal in size or almost equal in size between $1 and $2 trillion infrastructure. Listen, if they're inflating and the monetary supply, I'm all about them building that infrastructure. I'd rather have working infrastructure inside the United States than simply this money flowing straight through the bankers, right? And I could see how someone would really give that a thumbs down because that they don't want good infrastructure. They're happy with like third world nations having by far superior infrastructure than them. So China was really smart in the way that they used all of their money from the 2008 crisis, not feeding. I mean, the U.S. had no choice. You have to keep the music playing. You have to keep the financial system afloat, right? You had to reinflate the system to reinflate that debt. But China went ahead and used that money for infrastructure. Yeah. Yeah, Trump's a politician. He does lie like every other politician. So either which way, he's also a real estate guy. He loves infrastructure projects. So, we'll see what happens. Yeah, there's going to be a need to. So Murray, I think where we're going with this is actually into universal basic income. It might come out of the United States before anywhere else. We've seen little projects in some Norwegian countries where in small towns and villages they tried universal basic income tests. But during our last crisis back in March, if anyone noticed, the first stimulus bill on the Democratic side included digital wallets that everyone in the United States had. And from there, they would be sending these payments to. That was opening up the door for universal basic income. If we do revisit the March lows and or take them out, rest assured, universal basic income, MMT, will be implemented. It's already in the works. They already have the law written. Could you imagine that? They just didn't wake up on March 15th and write that law. They already have that written. They have that filed away. They have their plans. Part of those plans is to get, to make this a cashless society, right? Everything digital, right? We could track everything on our centralized servers. In Korea, you had an electric bus drive you to the super modern airport. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Landed in the 70s. Yeah, this is the comment of the day when we talk about US infrastructure. And that's exactly what it's like. And not, I've traveled the world. Believe me, there are much worse airports than the United States. However, compared to what's going on in Singapore and these other areas, they're much, much nicer. Automation is right. This is what we need to look at. The coronavirus was ignited the adoption of this happening. It is happening. You could see whether it's Amazon warehouses going more automated or even Walmart. It's all happening. It's all happening. It's beautiful. The Moscow Metro is absolutely gorgeous. Talk about class. Talk about class. But David, they do have wild packs of dogs riding those subways. I didn't know it was a thing that there's wild packs of dogs, stray dogs, throughout the city of Moscow, and they actually do ride the subways in packs. They don't pay the fee. Let's take a look at what's going on because the markets have not really changed so much. Looking for a change of that over the next 45 minutes, but we're still seeing the S&P basically flatlined from where we opened up. Let's take a look over here. You can see look at the range we've been in. Since I've been awake. That's the range we've been in over there. What's the DXY doing? Definitely resuming out of this. This is a clear sign too. Now that we've had a pullback right into that local resistance and have resumed off of it. That's a 2 hour time frame, huh? That's too small for me. Here's the 8 hour. You can see it all happening. If we get above there, that's also a sign here that we're targeting 97. So markets are always at some critical junctures, huh? You just want to be aware of them. Help your trading. Things are starting to look a little bit more smooth than they were earlier this morning, where everything was very choppy, very choppy. Let's break up. Let's level up here. Let's make this level up. That's what I'm rooting for. You could see, or everyone could see, FX leading the way here, going more towards that risk on. You could see it. We saw it in the US dollar, Japanese yen, right? We're seeing it there on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. We're seeing it on the euro, Japanese yen, but you're not seeing the equity markets yet participating. So right now we're having that rotation into FX. Dennis, continue to accumulate whenever possible. But Dennis, so the one caveat to that is for me, and obviously I've put a lot of thought into this more than anything else. My current Bitcoin trade, right, is that I'm continuing to accumulate up into $20,000, $30,000, and I expect us to be somewhere between, let's say, $17,000 and $19,000 in December of this year, right? Those are my targets. If we're trading around that target price come the end of 2020, then I will continue accumulating up to 30,000 without hesitation. Everything will be going according to plan. Oh, 4,000. What's Tesla doing today? Tesla down slightly. Tesla, is that a buying opportunity on Tesla? You could see this area of support over here. We're going to call it right around 1450. We'll call it the whole number. 1450 into the support this morning, right? If the markets were breaking down the levels we looked at, what would that mean at Tesla at this point? At this point, it looks pretty, maybe it's around 1350. Go Tesla. There were some videos I was looking at yesterday, I think, or spotted to be able to look at. It was talking about what's going on with Tesla trying to sell 1 million units, and when are they trying to be able to sell 1 million units by? I remember Steve Jobs trying to sell, was it 1 million or 3 million units of the Mac, and when he was able years, not only years later, but companies later, when he came back to Apple to be able to achieve that. That was a phenomenal feat. I want to find out what Tesla is looking at when they're looking to sell 1 million units over here. Yeah, Cameron, thank you. Thank you for the you. Yeah, Tom, yeah, I agree with that. That's cool. Either do I. Did you like that? BTC warning, buying opportunities ahead. Dennis heard that laugh, huh? Yeah, I think Ethereum does outperform Bitcoin. I think Ethereum outperforms Bitcoin definitely over the foreseeable future. Let's pull up a chart. Ethereum, the bull markets, again, we didn't know that the Fed was going to be pumping right now all of this stimulus as Bitcoin was entering its halving cycle. We look at the halving cycle of Bitcoin, right? And that's what we trade around. Same thing here with Ethereum and Bitcoin. Look at this. This is actually some pretty nice price action that you're looking at over there. This is your chart of Ethereum versus Bitcoin. And if you look back, you could see just Bitcoin has absolutely crushed the price of Ethereum ever since the height of the bull market. That was right around here, right around December 24th. Oh, I digress. I'm sorry. Rewind. Please forget what I said. This right here, this move on Ethereum versus Bitcoin, that was when we had the Bitcoin Cash chain split, and everyone had no idea what was going to happen to the Bitcoin blockchain. Now, most people, what they did right away was take that Bitcoin Cash, sell it, and buy more Bitcoin. But there was, speculation and narratives being thrown around there that perhaps Bitcoin Cash was going to become the real Bitcoin. And then they had Bitcoin SV and all this nonsense and chain cannibalization. But Bitcoin, which is called the honey badger, because a honey badger will get through any situation, just basically cannibalized all of that hash power. And in the end, afterwards, Bitcoin since has been on this massive trend throughout the bear market. You could see over here, look at this pattern actually with me really closely. Let me delete that one line over here because I don't want that on my chart anymore. This is a really important pattern that we've seen play out on gold recently. And I want you in 2019, and I want you to look at that right over here. Look at this pattern. Look at this pattern also on gold. All right. You can see that similar trend line break right over there. This is what set off the bull market on gold, by the way. It's this break of this trend line right over here. Let me look at it on the 8-hour with you as we were watching it in real time. And there it is right there. There it is right there. You had the break, the retest, and then the breakout, which once you get above that last high, that was really the breakout. That started the bull market. The bull market started right there. And now we are today at 1800. Look at Ethereum. Now, crypto trades much quicker than anything else. What takes something maybe 4 years to take place in FX could maybe take place in 6 months on crypto. It's just the way it is. Let's look at Ethereum Bitcoin as it's coming out of that similar pattern right now. I thought I could just pull it up. And there is that similar pattern over there. So a break here above that highs, that's setting off the range where you're going to see the sharp appreciation of Ethereum versus Bitcoin. I think so. I think that's going to happen. You're seeing the narrative of this bull market is that the DeFi, which is taking place on the Ethereum blockchain, decentralized finance, it's still got a long way to go. You'll still see some really neat people being able to, it's not a hack if it's within the rules of the system, right? But they're able to find loopholes and take a bunch of money. I would not invest any money in it. It's highly speculative. You have to really understand what you're investing in. And I don't, so I'm not going to invest in DeFi, right? So I understand Bitcoin. That's why I'm invested there, even though I think Ethereum will outperform Bitcoin. We got the 500 likes. I wish I had a button to press when we hit the 500 likes. That's awesome. That's quite a lot for the amount of people we have in here today. Still have 596 of y'all in here with me today. Greatly appreciate your company. And thanks for sharing this. I use TradingView. TradingView.com, best charting analysis there is out there. Use it. It's awesome. What else are we looking at over here? I want to just check back in now with the euro over here as it's maintaining and stretching out towards session highs over here, attempting to test yesterday's high, which puts us at an important level down there on the DXY. Let's see the next 30 minutes, whether or not we get some wicks and retracement would not be a good sign for continuation, or we get an extension down, which is what I'm hoping for. Let's see if the equity markets are able to resume out of this. That's what I'm looking for. I'll give a much clearer update on the equity markets this afternoon. Maybe what I think I'm going to be doing, and maybe not today, it takes a lot of work to produce those videos. I sure hope you like them. I know I enjoy them. But, I might start putting in some FX pairs that are setting up. If anything is on my eye, I might start including those, editing those into those afternoon videos as well. That's a lot, Jesse. That's a lot. We have hit 1,000 likes, but then we had like 2,500 or 2,300 people in here when we did that. To have only this amount of people in here and have that many likes, man, that's crushing it. Thanks, Eric. I'd appreciate that very, very, very much. No, you could use. So the thing about Robinhood is anytime you need it, it doesn't work. Have you ever noticed every time the markets are actually crashing, Robinhood is down? That doesn't happen with FX brokers, by the way, ever, right? You never have that situation. That's a terrible situation. I can't have money on the line when a system's going down. Webull is better. There's a link for Webull in the description below. If you deposit $100, you receive 2 stocks with the second one possibly valued up to $1,400. I don't know. The most that I ever got, right, was something like a $60 stock, which, $30 is a little more common. But it would be nice to get a $1,400 bonus like that. The percentage of likes is completely proportional to the comment. Well, to the content or the comment. Nice comment over there. I appreciate that. Yeah, great to see you with us. Thank you for that huge amount of likes open up there. It did happen to IG when the euro was falling. That's interesting. Know who your broker is. Know who your broker is. Yeah. So can you imagine, Tom? I was with Interactive Brokers 19 years ago, and they didn't even have any charting. You had to use third-party charting platforms to trade through IB. It's how I used to trade the E-mini future markets. And IB is one of the best. But again, trading platform's another thing. I don't connect anything to Eric. I don't have any broker connected to TradingView. I was just talking about trading off of TradingView when you had no charts. I've always used different charting platforms and different brokers. Is how I do it. Where are we at, by the way? S&P still not doing much today. You could see that tight range it's in, coming down back to that 2-hour time frame. Let's mark it out. Here's the range we're in, right? Let's wait for the break. That will give the next clue probably, right? Coming back in to test that resistance, coming back in to test our little bit of support over here in this area around 3180. So no man's land could you get any clearer for no man's land than that right now? I can't. You are in no man's land, and there's your map. There's your guide. NinjaTrader I've never used. And NinjaTrader was an option I could have had available back in like 2003. Instead, I was using Sierra charts, which were beautiful back then. Not easy to use. I tried hooking them up a couple of years ago. I love them so much, but they're not. I don't. Computer stuff, man, is so difficult, and I've been through so much of so many different things that like sometimes it's just too much. I don't even know how to work a remote these days. Yeah, that's awesome. You started back in April. We used to do this back in December when we first started, November, right? With 50 people here. Same thing, right? Each day when there was 30, 50 people here, going through my analysis, doing my work. It's nice to see the bigger community and share it with y'all. because I definitely not only get like again in the morning getting online, I'm like, oh, about to hear everyone. The music's playing, right? About to hear everyone come online, with the greetings from Poland, wherever they are in the world. It's fantastic. I'm a big fan. Let me see if I can get that back up 1 second. That's not what I'm looking for. Let me try this one over there. Let's try. I was just looking for the music. I don't see it. By the way, people were wondering what is that music I play in the morning. I'm using this artist.io simply because like you could stream. I don't know. I just have to pay this subscription, and then you could play any of their music that's available without like the royalty problems and things like that. And it's called Honeymoon instrumental version. Yeah, it had problems. This has been a smooth trade and ride over here. So if you're talking about what type of possible trade management you should be focused on, I mean, you're on the 8 hour, right? Um, so I've actually been holding this trade not through what would have been the better entry. This right here is the nice clean entry, break of the resistance into the support and then up. That's a beautiful entry. I wish I got that one. This one also beautiful. I'm in this one all the way back over here when we triggered, right? This was the same thing that happened right here. Break of the resistance. I bought the resumption. I have my stop down low. I'm still in the trade. So as far as trade management and what you need to do is you set your initial stop loss when you do your analysis, getting yourself into the trade. I don't move my stop loss until it's hit, or I move my stop loss to lock in profit. That's how I do it. Yeah, it was a great session. Thank you for this one. Love the music on YouTube. I'm not sure. I would love to hear that track. Yeah, we're not. Oh, we almost did, but Miguel wants to stay on. I'm good to stay online too. All right, that was just a head fake. That was just a head fake for now. Let's see what else we got going on over here. Well, actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this. This is what I'm gonna do instead of ending this stream. I'm going to. How do I like that? I'm not ending the stream. I'm going to stay online with y'all, and we're going to keep looking at the markets here probably for at least another half hour if anyone's interested in staying around. At the same time, what I am going to do is I'm going to put on our track for just 2 minutes because I'm trying to get the perfect. There you go. That looks better. I'm going to put on this track for just a minute. No, that's a good question. It's a good question, right? Is it harder to trade with all these algos? No, buy off support, sell off resistance. So I'm going to put this track on for here for a minute, 2 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and kiss my wife and kids to say good morning. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to continue here. All right. Back, and thank you for that. Excited to stay online over here and extend this marathon session over here because I really want to see what the next half hour or so brings over here in the markets. S&P trying here to come over here and rally, but we're within this range, staying within that trading range. This is a clear plan over here. DXY coming back soft. Again, I really want to see where the pull is over the next hour or so, actually. Important session because this session could actually lead to an extension. If we are able to start here, continuing this trend breakout past the level, we could see this going into the weekend. And I would love to see an extension of the current move that we're in. I would love to be looking at this next resistance level up here on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, euro, Japanese yen on the verge of breaking above this resistance here. That would be beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So let's see. We're pulling for it. Gold maintaining that consolidation here. Is this the opportunity to get in gold for anyone who is looking to actually more or less, I would even be on the cusp of calling that day trading, right? Here, let me get on the 8-hour time frame. Here we're looking at this nice, beautiful consolidation over here. Any impulse up could be the time when the next leg goes up. I'm looking for higher legs on gold. Anyone, or I believe many of you are holding still and continue to do. And I hope that you continue. These trends are just getting started over here. FX pairs would be awesome. We go over FX pairs the whole session, right? Yeah, RH, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know what the VWAP is. I've never even seen it or heard of it. I've heard the name. When I say heard of it, I've never heard an explanation or seen what it looks like. Hold the gold. That's right. All right. So what else are we looking at? Let's see, because we looked at earlier today and why we were looking at the S&P at its lows. It's still near its lows. Why it was at its lows. We were looking at the U.S. dollar Mexican peso was actually negative on the day. That was not an indication that FX was participating in the risk off move you were seeing in the U.S. equity markets. I think more importantly, we've seen the dollar coming back to test yesterday's lows. And you're also seeing Japanese yen soft today. You're seeing definitely nice gains all around on the pound, on the euro, Swiss franc today. Yesterday it was down. And equity markets are lagging, but they're getting ready here maybe to join in the party. All right. Looks like we're now possibly breaking out of this range over here. And equity markets are looking to participate over here. Let's look on a smaller time frame so you can watch it happening over here, right? So interesting. Yeah. Let's take a look. So, I mean, I'm happy to be on the extra time. We got the little one really, you can probably hear him aggressively. There's nothing I could do about that. But here we are on pound Japanese yen. How many people do we have? 400 people in here? 420 people in here. That's pretty great. Happy to be here together. This looks like a possible consolidation period over here, and it looks like we're breaking out right now of it. If I look at that, that looks to me like a little bit of a bull flag over there. And if I look horizontally, all right, I had this level over here. Now, if this one should be lower, also, I just want to, that's where the support is actually, right? That was the support. And you could see, and then just let me show you where I had it. Nevertheless, right? That was an entry right over here. Let me pull back. I always give horizontal support and resistance more weight than any trend line, by the way. So if you're looking at right here, if you're looking at this possibly being that little channel we were just looking at, right? And if you're breaking out, but the entry was off of here. The entry was off of the support. The entry was off the support. And there was another one right there that didn't get away. Here's another opportunity. This time it looks like maybe we're breaking out, and it looks like the first area that you're looking at is 135.55. That again, this becomes the area not where you're looking to take profit. This is the area maybe you're taking a small portion off, maybe a small piece of profit, but you're just managing your trade, moving the stop loss now to break even, right? And giving that trade that room to become something, substantial. Push the winners. You can't push the winner unless you actually give the winner the opportunity to be pushed. That means that as you move your stop loss to break even, you're going to have a portion of those trades, a sizable portion, which is stopped off at break even. Deal with it. It's just part of what you need to do to make money, right? So, it's better than taking that break even than taking a loss. And the reason you're taking that break even is because the trade never went anywhere. The first support or resistance away is not the place to take profit. Otherwise, you'll never be a profitable trader. You will never be a profitable trader. Now, day trading is completely different. We don't day trade, right? If you're day trading, obviously you're looking to take profits right away. Day traders are a 1-to-1 risk reward for day traders is pretty nice. Is there a long entry into the first support or resistance? Into the first support or resistance is Roman's asking, do we have on the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, a possible long entry right now? So, I mean, that's not wrong pair. Yeah, that's a possible long entry right there for sure. That's a possible long entry right there for sure. And probably a good one. Probably a good one. Now, you do want to ask yourself also at the same time is, you have 3 trades. Is this where you want to trade? What I liked about this when we looked at the Australian dollar, US dollar, and the New Zealand dollar, US dollar it is really trading at or above its June highs. It's trading right slightly above its June highs. If you look at the Australian dollar, US dollar, it's not. It's a little bit lower. It's at the high, while New Zealand dollar is slightly above the high. This also right here is a beautiful entry. You can see the pullback into support. There you go. That's also a beautiful entry right there happening on the Australian dollar, US dollar. Australian dollar, Japanese yen. This leading the way here after the ECB. Euro also. I think they had some type of earnings miss. I think they had some type of earnings miss. I'm not 100% on that. Sell the Euro US dollar. Listen, if you're in the habit of trying to pick tops, and if you have to this is kind of important. Watch this box over here, right? Watch that blue box over there. And if you could see that, you could see if you're selling here right now that you are literally trying to pick the top. And there's no way that's just not a good way to go about making money in the markets. It's very, very difficult to try to pick any type of top or bottom. And it's a very low probability trade. And you need to understand that if you're selling here, that you are picking a top. It doesn't make any sense. If you zoom out a little further, even worse, you notice that you've broken out of this resistance. And if you look at that resistance, that's a big 5-year trend line that you broke out above. So do you want to sell a breakout? No, we don't sell breakouts. What about if you come up to over here though? What happens if price trades into that resistance? Then you'd want to sell because you're trading off of resistance. That's a 5-year trend line over there. We have never broken outside and held this trend line. So any moves into this trend line, you're looking to be a seller. As we come back down and test this broken one as support and or really break down and start going, that's a golden place to look for long-term short positions on the Euro US dollar. And if it's a failed rejection of resistance, and you break that trend line, that 5-year trend line, you break that to the upside, well, then I want to position myself once again after having already taken profit here. I want to position myself now long. It's about taking the safe trade, and that's all it's about. All right. Are you hearing noise from my end? Are you hearing noise from my end on the stream? Let me know if you are. Bitcoin trying also to find its legs here, as it looks like Dow's about to turn green. If I don't know if you ever noticed what's tricky. Maybe it's the algos. What's tricky with the equity markets? You could have a down day like this. They go to break even. They turn slightly green and then reverse. That happens a lot on equity markets, if anyone's noticed. All right, thanks, everyone. Market noise. I think that's what he was referring to, Miguel. Yeah. But beyond that 66% return was after fees. They had an average 66% annual return after fees. Their fees are 30%. So that's insane. They only trade $10 billion in the fund. When I say only $10 billion, they won't take on more money outside of that. Most of that $10 billion, if not all of it, is actually people that run the fund themselves, their own money. Even a lot of investors, early investors, after their money increased so much, they were basically told, you can't increase your investment or invest at all. So if you want to look, the whole idea is about is about analyzing and looking at the market. Is the Nasdaq a good vehicle for trading? Sure, it is. One of the most heavily traded instruments in the world. Nasdaq 100 is what I have available for trading personally. Is fantastic. You could trade this on FX Choice. Yeah. Thanks, Steve. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Let's check out the Euro Canadian dollar. That's about as textbook as you get. We looked at that earlier this morning. I know we did. And let's look on the 8-hour time frame. And then you could just see if anyone's interested, right? Breakout, resumption, into the support, resumption off. This is the entry. This is what you need to do. If you do this all the time, and then of course, just give the trade the opportunity. Not all trades are going to be pushed or work out. There's part of the game is taking not only losses, but if you're able to give them the opportunity to run after pullbacks into support like that in an uptrend, that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do to conquer the markets. A lot of people continue to look. A lot of people continue to look for that top in the markets. A lot of people continue to look for the top of the markets. So it's very hard in a bull market to sell the top and pick the top. I don't know why everyone, is it human nature that everyone tries to pick the top? It is. If you think about this, throughout all of this, look at this period. This is just a small glimpse. But throughout all of this, everyone was trying to pick the top. Now you want to look at something big, right? Throughout all of that, that's just a couple of years. Everyone's trying to pick the top, right? What happens when we go back to the run we had? Do these markets crash? 100%. No question about it. When they crash, it's easy. It's very clear because they go down very fast. They go down very fast. Let's look at this section really, Mitt. This is going into the dot-com bubble and burst. This is a very familiar pattern, by the way. When you go parabolic, you have this massive crash. This is 40, 50% crash, right? And then you have another 40% move to the upside. This is Bitcoin to December 2017 and into January 2018 right here. And that sets off the massive top. But that's the safe entry right there. After all of that played out, that's when you start selling. Look at that. There's the first retest of the broken support as resistance. Money trade. It doesn't get any easier than that. Look, if it's time to get short, we'll get short. It's not the time to get short or pick the top of a market. That's tough. Yeah. So, or even go back to December. I'll pull up an 8-hour. Go back to December of 2018. That was a big drop. Here we are. Of 19, excuse me. Nope. There I am. This is December of 2018. This was a big, big sell-off in the markets. This went on all quarter. This was, let's check it out, an actual pullback of 24%. Huge pullback in the markets. That was December. I remember this day. This is the day that Steve Mnuchin called all the CEOs of other banks. On this day right here is when Steve Mnuchin called the CEO of all the leading investment banks, and magic happened from that day on. Magic happened from that day on. But they were there to protect it. Once again, they did it. Should you really be investing on, when you're investing long on equities, you're kind of investing in the system itself in a way. Am I a perma bull? Absolutely not. Everyone knows that. But when you're investing right now as liquidity is being pumped into the markets, you're seeing a devaluation here. Someone really, really pointed out, thank you for that. Someone pointed out that, people think that Amazon trading at $3,000 is awesome today, right? But they don't realize is that person who owned it at $2,000 with $4 trillion less liquidity, expansion of the balance sheet, dilution of the dollar, they think their investment is worth more today than it was over here. And it's not. It's just that they're diluting the money supply. $4 trillion, boom. That's what's happening, right? What happens when the Fed prints, stocks go up. Is the Fed printing? Yes. No, Adam. That's a tough one. Not really. I think that it's a tough one. There are sometimes I think it is, and other times there ain't. When I got to watch the interview with Lynn, that's one of the times that I was really appreciative of the subscription and kind of worth it. But not, honestly, though, if you're talking the amount of information that Raul puts out there, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's through interviews, podcasts, and whatnot, is extraordinarily valuable. By going ahead and supporting with a subscription, Real Vision, and it's not like there's enough content there that's new that it's intriguing to me. But is it something to watch, once a week, twice a week? Yes. And also know that, supporting Raul and all that he adds to the conversation. That's pretty cool. Yeah. No. So Tim's right. It's human nature, psychology to pick tops and bottoms. And you have to sit down and have that talk with yourself. You have to reprogram your brain, and you have to say, listen, most people are actually chasing momentum. They like to buy things that are high and sell things as they go down. And you have to understand that's not correct. You have to have a talk with yourself. This is why I cut losers short. And this is why I hold on to my winners. And I understand that in order to be able to push winning trades, that means that I'm going to have some trades that were in profit get stopped out at break even and or at a loss. Because there's no way I could get to holding those positions if I give up on them. There's no way if you sell Bitcoin at 9,000, even if it goes back down to 7,000, that you're going to be able to hold Bitcoin for 50,000 and or 100,000 and or a million. There's no way if you can't hold Bitcoin, right? Right now, at 9,000, that there's any way you're going to see any type of significant gains on Bitcoin. Cardis has a really, it's gotten boring like to YouTube. Are you talking about Real Vision, perhaps? I don't know. Yeah, pretty cool. Again, Ryan, also cool about BlockFi is that, again, as it's time to get out of Bitcoin, when I become the ultra Bitcoin bear, please not one ever say that I had anything to do with the price of Bitcoin falling. We know because of the stock to flow model when we're looking to position ourselves out of Bitcoin and take profits. At that point, I'll be looking forward to holding stable US dollar coins inside BlockFi and receiving 8.6, which is what they pay now. I don't know what they'll be paying then, but right now they pay 8.6 on a stable coin. They pay up to 5 Bitcoin, 5% on holding Bitcoin, right? So if you plan on holding Bitcoin for the next 18 months, why not earn 5% on that, 2% over 5 Bitcoin, and no limit on the amount of 8.6% for stablecoin. Is now a good time to go long? No, now's not a good time to go long. We're already long. You don't want to buy into the resistance. You could see over here on the Euro Japanese yen, we're in an area of resistance. So you don't want to buy into the resistance, right? The buy was, on pullbacks into support. Here's a pull break, pullback into support, entry, right? Here's into resistance, pulled back. Here's a possibility. And here's a possibility, depending on the session, to get long here. But over here, you're no longer getting long. If you took this later entry and you're into the resistance now, well, then you're already thinking about if you're moving your stop loss to break even, right? Which probably you should be doing right now if you took that later entry, because you need to you have less room to work with. Oh, the question rather is how does BlockFi afford to pay out people holding Bitcoin? And I've actually asked investors in BlockFi how this works. Again, most of them, they are lending out cryptocurrency to institutional investors, and they receive more than that back for what they're lending out. I'm not exactly sure. It's very vague. I've asked this question, and I'm going with the faith that we have Fidelity Investments, $7 trillion Fidelity as an investor in BlockFi. Also Coinbase, the Winklevoss brothers, also Anthony Papalano from Morgan Creek Digital are all investors in BlockFi, and it's a large VC play. There's a lot of money to be made in private equity inside venture capitalists, and as Coinbase was one of those plays, but BlockFi is now, you could say, the hottest venture capital play inside of the crypto space. And I think that when they can no longer, if they can no longer afford to pay those type of rates, that they'll start lowering them. But there's a risk, there's a third-party risk, but we've spoken ad nausea about third-party risks, including with BlockFi. Wow, I didn't know that. Ryan. That's pretty awesome. 6% up to 3 Bitcoin. So after 3 Bitcoin, it goes back down to 2%. Is that the case? If you could confirm, Ryan, please let me know. That's not too exciting. I'd rather get the 5% up to 5 Bitcoin. Yeah. So stop trading. Just why don't you just commit for the next week or two, just watching our videos. Just watch the live streams. Watch the whole live stream. Watch the video up all in the afternoon, and then see in 2 weeks where you're at. Don't trade at all during this time. All right, so markets back down now, actually within that range. Looked like they were getting ready to perhaps break out of there. And we're still right in dead center now of no man's land. That's where we are. What happened with the dollar during that time? Dollar is still hugging its lows, near its session lows. So Euro US dollar still maintaining. The equity markets couldn't make that fight. Watch this range that we're in and wait and watch for the break, whether it's to the upside or downside. Clear path. Oh, that's pretty awesome. They're offering 6% now up to 5 Bitcoin. And after 5 is 3.2. That is, I thought 5% up to 5 Bitcoin and then 2% after 5 Bitcoin was a pretty good deal. This is even better now. Again, I believe that's going to be one of the biggest plays inside the VC markets. And BlockFi is a good service at the end of the day. There is that risk of holding it online. You have to use safe practices. If you don't know what safe practices are, ask questions and or research. Yep. Entering lunch in no man's land right here in New York. We're going to call it a session. And it was a good one. I'm going to go out with some music, though. Let's take a look at that. I'm in no rush. Is it possible we're seeing a bull flag play out? Maybe, but I see the same thing. I just see we're in no man's land. This is your playbook. There's no way that you should just be able, whether we go up or down from here, into the next resistance or support, have yourself into a break-even trade so that whether or not we break out here to the upside or break down, you're sitting on a seriously, fantastically good trade. And if you don't, if you come into the resistance and are rejected, right, and then or stopped out, or come into the support and are rejected and or stopped out, no big deal. The only way that you lose money on the trade, which is entirely possible, is that you get a fake breakout. When I say fake breakout, I mean you got, well, the 2 hour I was looking. Let me come back to the 2 hour. You get a breakout to the upside, which then fails, right? Because then you would have a stop loss at the lower end of that range. Or if you had a breakout to the downside that then failed, then that would lead to a potential stop loss. But it's a good looking trade. 6% now, Will. Now 6%. Yep, I do it. There's a link below in the description if you're interested. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that very much. Yeah, it's been a great week, by the way, Miguel. It's been a fantastic week. I mean, Monday started off with such an awesome session, and it really started getting better from there. Tuesday, Wednesday, and now today on Thursday. Love it. It's summer. Yeah, let's look at the US dollar, Canadian dollar. So I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to get on the 8 hour time frame. We're looking at FX, and you could see that two things I see. First of all, I see that we're down towards this support right here, right now. And I also see that we're trading in a range. It's a big range between the support down over here at 1.35 and the resistance up at 1.367, or 1.37 rather, call it 1.3695. Right around that area over there. You're in that narrow range. I personally step aside. I don't trade things in a range because I'm looking for the potential of that breakout to another resistance or support level. Is this a dollar story right now, or is this a Canadian dollar story? I think this is a dollar story. I think that we see, until proven wrong, further dollar weakness. Therefore, I would not be looking to buy the US dollar, Canadian dollar. In order to buy the US dollar, Canadian dollar, we would be, at the very least trading above this resistance over here, but probably not even then. I would probably be shorting this, through there. That's on the DXY. Everyone's familiar with that. So I'll just jump over there really quick because everyone is familiar with this channel and the breakdown out of it, right? And why we remain under there. We call it the 98.30 level. We are just uber bearish on the dollar as we've broken down, right? This was the channel we're in. The same thing is playing out when you look at the US dollar, Canadian dollar. You could see that same exact channel. And then we broke down, right? We retested and are now resuming down. If I was looking at the US dollar, Canadian dollar, I'm looking to see if we break this resistance. If we break that resistance, that's an entry right there on the break. If price makes a lower low than these up price bars over here, that could be an entry right there. And that's the trade to take if you're interested. Stay away from the long side until we get any type of indication that we're seeing a trend change in the dollar. Tim, I have a photo of that right here. Let me take a look at that. Man, I just took the photo the other morning this week, and there's like a gazillion photos. I don't even take photos on my phone. I don't have it in front of me right now, Tim, so I'll bring it up tomorrow. I want to get a photo, and I'll have the photo uploaded so I can just go like that, and then you'll see it over there. I hope it's available. It's amazing. It's so good. Boom, boom, boom. All right, everyone. I wish you and hope you have a beautiful day. Thanks for spending this time together. Thanks for, I I see you all on the right side of the markets and on these trades. I love those comments we received earlier, right? About people, 20 years of behavior being changed, right? Thank you. Turn me into a consistently profitable trader. I appreciate the knowledge. 20 plus years, I was buying into breakouts and selling breakdowns. And now trading between the support and resistance. All right, everyone. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Thanks for spending the time. Thanks for smashing that like button. 585 likes. It's explosive. This is our highest liked video ratio ever by a large margin. So God bless you all. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the dapps. Thanks for the tacos. Thanks for the community. And thanks for being, thanks for letting me know as you improve as a trader. It's so important. Thank you, Jeff. Definitely will. Thanks for being here. The elbow cough, right? That's the DAT. The emoji doesn't show up, but it's the DAT. Thanks, Jesse. Hope you have a beautiful day, brother. Thanks, Will. PA had. It was a fun one. Andre, congratulations with your move. That's awesome. Thanks, Eric. Do appreciate that. Peace, Sean, Adam, Jesse. Have a beautiful day, everyone.